have people on?
Yeah, right in. Because we had people 9 o'clock. Yeah.
Oh. Is that one of the blow the month?
No, this was one that I just had. This is one I just had.
I love those.
Yep.
So
Yeah, you're hungry. I know. I know. I'm just gonna get this started. Hey, I will feed you in just a second. Gotta let mommy type this really quick. Yeah, just for like 5 seconds. Gotta get this.
Come here, baby.
Okay. I know. I'm gonna feed you in just a second. You silly girl. You silly girl. You're so hungry. So yeah, we get those every month. No, we're working hard on it.
Does she like tummy time?
No, she likes the bouncer. Okay, so we bounce her.
Yeah, Cassidy. I mean, I hated tummy time, and you know, they switch it like lay your baby on its back, lay your baby on its side, lay your baby on its side. It switches like every 2 years.
It does. It does.
But tummy time was always a ball fest.
Yeah. So you want some food?
Feel your belly. Feel your belly. That'll make you happy.
I'm just gonna go sit right over there. The live stream is running, so whatever is ready.
Okay. It's dark. You know, this engaged spotter, I mean, I know we have to have it. If you really have to find innovative ways,
Are you looking for like
just with, I mean,
any trick?
yeah, that you have to have an engaged spotter within arm's reach. It's gonna be really hard for us rules judges to, because by engaged, they were talking about having their eyes have to be on them and be ready at all times. And with that, looking like a cheer spotter.
Yeah.
You can slide for that. That's very great. That'll be very hard for me.
Right.
I'm sure I can count.
Right. Yeah, I don't know how. I know.
I'm just gonna slide for that. That's so great.
Yeah.
Unless you're gonna have people saying that like you
Right. Right.
you don't want that.
Did they have to be within physical contact or within arm's reach, but they don't have to, they actually have to have? Very.
I'm thinking, you know, the verbiage was, we didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you need that.
So I text Nigro.
Yeah, what did Nigro say?
We're just gonna wait it. Nigro, all we're gonna do.
You're just gonna hear us.
Anyone sitting here?
Oh, my phone's in there.
I should be like, we should get her all riled up.
We really should.
No, we should.
We should.
Oh, good.
What did I say? Oh, okay. Yeah, we weren't joking about it. All is good. Yesterday, really fast. Yes, yes. You feel the fight with little besties since birthday.
I have texted you to
Oh, yeah. You could talk before me. Yeah, some broken ball. But that's all they.
It's like,
But I haven't said hi. Hello here.
I'm happy to know you're coming.
You're a big girl. Already? I know.
She loves the jumper.
Oh, so that is totally in there.
Because they have a mirror. But it's the jumpers. One of them jumpers. Yeah. Every time you put it in the jumper, it would be like, I'm just a player. So we
It's like he's relaxing and just I'm gonna let it go. I'm surprised Karen hasn't.
But she was on the microphone.
Oh no, she's sitting down there. She is gonna be. Not that I don't want her here. I want her here. Please. No.
Nobody.
Always. Oh, I just saw it. Okay, good morning, everyone. We're gonna get started. The lovely donuts of all Iowa morning. Yay. Do have a few people signed in live stream as well, which is great. I'm glad you're on, and then it'll be recorded again. But just real quick, we're gonna go around the room, just do a quick introduction, name, school, and if you are a board member, which district you are, would be great. So we'll start over here.
I'm Rachel. I am a dance team coach at Apple Park. Sorry. Aaron Good, head coach at Apple Park.
How many years?
Head coach at Detroit.
What is it years?
Here's our teacher voices.
Yes, our teacher voices.
I'm Ashley Johnson. I'm coach of Michigan. head coach at Waffle. If you're a new coach, why don't you signify you also?
Melissa Worth, Pearson.
G. Nelson, Logan, Magnolia.
Amber Zaki, what's the matter?
Brittany Dolphin, Carly Melvin Sanborn.
Okay, we'll head to that. Yep.
Ariana Jason, I'm the head coach at Twin Cedars.
Lindsay Ann, Producer Louie. Emily Swanford.
Taylor, Leo, Indian Oma. Brandon Simpson, English House. Joyce Joyce, Sterling Seniors.
I'm Kat Morris, new coach at Lloyd East Energy. Kristen Clark, Colfax Lincoln.
Chelsea Wickett, Sharon. And Laura Carter, I'm the assistant at Oskaloosa. I'm Katie Driggs, and I'm the coach at Lamar's Community.
Jack Kreitzel, and I'm coaching Bailey.
I'm Katie Miller, and I'm the co-head coach at Michigan. I'm Michelle Durant, I'm Algona, and then
Janelle Beck, I'm also coach. Heather Dagmont at North Union, and I'm new, but I'm back. I was.
A boomerang.
I'm a boomerang.
Here, whomever.
Dan Bauer, new co at Southeast One.
Peyton Nelson, new head coach at Southeast One.
Jordan Walker, new coach at Shelby High School.
Shell Scout, new coach at Clear Creek Amana.
Sarah Heinrich, new coach at Agent Widow Stars.
Oh, new table. They're sitting at the front. I love it. Yeah.
Max Schmidt, new coach at Mount High School.
Go, another new.
Hensley, another new coach at Mount High School. Tricia Johnson, new coach at Wilfalanga.
I'm Emma Degner, and I'm an assistant coach new at ESAC. I'll be here later.
Yes, Connie, we'll be arriving later. Yes.
Devin Duncan at Mountsville. Brenna Baker, new coach at Creston High School.
Go ahead.
Christy Vance, Panorama, District 7. Becca, new at Woodward Granger. Genevieve, at Wallace Holman.
Meredith Dennis, Davenport Central. And Beth Sullivan, Waterloo Columbus.
Go ahead. Go, it's you.
Molly Lofton,
Alicia Warner Ballard. Emily Ballard.
Bethany Eastman, Akron, Westfield. My name is Grace Keelan, and I coach in Albia.
Okay.
Stephanie Coles.
Oh. I couldn't see you. Sarah, who are you?
Sure. Sarah Best, Ames High School. And Colleen Schultz, District 8.
And Alyssa Nolte's here also, but she was taking baby to mom. So, and she clearly got stuck. Okay, so thank you for being here. Hopefully this meeting is informative and helpful. Please use this to ask questions. There's a ton of changes, as we all know, so you can ask them to me. I'll be leaving after my part, and then you can ask them to Colleen, Alyssa, Sarah, whomever. But I have just a few things that I want to go through. A lot of it should just be reminders if you've been reading emails and updates. So some of it's a test. When is deadline for state solo and state team registration? What's our date? Or before? Great. The key this year, do not wait until the last minute to do registration in your forms. Please don't wait till the last minute. Because it's amazing that we're going digital, but we all have to pay attention to the details. So start early, ask the questions, but most importantly, do them correctly the first time. Because once it's submitted, then Alyssa or myself get to go in and manually change it for you, which defeats the purpose, right? So make sure it's correct. Double, triple check. And start early. I can't say it enough. She didn't want Charlotte?
Charlotte only wants mom.
Got it. Okay. All right, I'm going to start with the state solo competition. There's several changes with state solos that I need you to be aware of. First, when you go to register your soloist, please make sure you're spelling their names correctly. You might be thinking, why is that hard? It's hard for some. Make sure they are correct. And this is why. More than ever, we have a whole digital scoring system now. What you enter as a coach in their solo registration is their name, Sally Sue, but it's really Sally Mae. That's what's on her score sheet. Once October 1 midnight hits, I cannot change that. So if her or his score sheet name is wrong, that's on you. And you get to explain that to your dancer, okay?
Where are you going?
So please make it right. What we can make right is when we send out the schedule and we print out the program, so on and so forth, we can change it before then. So the printed program will be right, their score sheet could be wrong, which obviously nobody wants, right? If we're missing an I, okay, we'll deal, okay? But please make sure those names are spelled correctly, more so than ever. We are moving to 10 classes of dance versus 8 classes of dance that we've had in the previous years because we want to even out, well, the class sizes have just gotten ginormous. 70 to 80 kids dancing and competing in one class. We want to decrease that by spreading it out over 10 classes of dance. So that means there'll be 5 classes competing in the morning, 5 classes competing in the afternoon. The other key thing that's a difference is we're using 2 gyms at Berg Middle School and 3 at the high school. If you compete at Berg, which you will know when the schedule comes out, not now, I do not know. You will know if you're at Berg. If you're at Berg, you do everything at Berg. You register, you pick up pre-order garments, you can buy garments. You have awards at Berg. You do not leave Berg unless you want to go spectate at the high school, which is awesome. Because it used to be, you'd go to the high school, wait for awards, and it was just a huge traffic jam. Okay? So everything happens at Berg if you're at Berg, and the same with high school. What else was I going to say about that? Oh, there's still the 2 classes of color guard that occur on Friday evening, small school and large school. There's still the 2 divisions for color guard. What's the other really big change for solos? Meredith, good teacher voice. Thank you. Uploading your music. You cannot upload your music until the schedule comes out. And the schedule will not be coming out until the week of like October 13, 14, whatever that is. Please don't ask for it before that. It won't be ready. Because it's going to be, that's what I was going to say. The divisions are going to look different. If you were class 4 last year, you could be 5 or you could be 3. Don't know. So that's kind of all fun and new for us this year. But we will get it out to you in time so that you can upload your music. And at that point, the music should be final, so it's actually a blessing. So instead of uploading it now and then your dancer's like, I don't like that music, I want this music, or whatever, it needs to be, this is the music, and that's it. Okay? Because you have to have when you upload the music, you have to assign the performance number. That's why you have to wait till the schedule. Okay? Again, due October 1st. Any questions on solos? Oh, I know what a question would be. State cross-country, state cheer, and us are the big three that happen on that day. If you have a dancer that would go to state cheer and or potentially a cross-country runner that could be competing at state, let Lois Turnage know now so that she can make sure the schedule is correct the first time instead of having to go and change it. Okay? We want to make it work for everyone. So if they're in cross country and they're a small school, let's say, then we'll try to schedule them as late as possible in the afternoon into the evening. Okay? That's an example. We try to make it work. But let her know in advance. Any questions? Solos? Okay. State team. Not as much has changed, thank goodness. Your music remains on a flash drive, just like it always has. We will eventually migrate to upload. We need to, baby steps, right? So, flash drives for team. Registration's due October 1st. I will be mailing hard copy, like physical mail, not email. You will be getting all of your wristbands, passes, name badges, all of that for solos and team. It will come in one packet like it has before in the mail. So it is incredibly important that your mailing address is correct in your profile on ISDTA.net. Otherwise, it's getting mailed to wherever, I don't know, whatever's in there. The previous coach, your old address. You can update it. Don't send me your address. You can do it. But if you need a password update or something, we can do that easily. Any questions on team? Still 2 days, still Wells Fargo and Ivy Hall. Yay, good. Okay, the digital score sheets. So, like I said before, we have a new customized system, which I'm super excited about, that has been created for us for our judges. They'll be judging off of iPads, which I just purchased a couple of days ago. I'm so excited. It's a lot of iPads. But they get to judge off of iPads. A couple of our veteran judges have already tested it. They love it. It's super easy for them. So once all the judging's done and awards have happened, it's going to be like confetti falling from the sky when I say, and now your score sheets are available and released, because it's a push of a little button, and then all your score sheets upload into your school account. And so, for example, oh, it's so cool. You go in and it's like Davenport Central, you had 6 soloists, okay? So you go into your account, you click on competition results, and it will have all 6 of your individuals that competed. It'll be one score sheet for that person with all 3 judges' scores side by side, so you don't have to like lay all your papers next to each other and like, who's the hard judge? Who's the, it's so cool, okay? And then you can print them, the history's there, so many benefits. Same with team. Okay, then, you will still have packets to pick up at both solos and team, because you have your flash drives to pick up with your audio critiques from every judge. You still have those. You have ribbons. You have participant things. What are certificates? Please pick those up. We say we don't mail them, but we do, because we're like, oh, but the kid needs it, or, you know. But that's expense put on the organization. And if we have too much of that, I know it's not huge expense, but if it's year over year, then it's like, oh, well, then maybe we have to charge you more for things, right? So you're there. Do everybody a favor and pick up your packet, okay? Merchandise pre-orders, I can't emphasize that enough. Do it early. And we do have a fun little handout for you here in just a little bit that has the descriptions that is on our website under competition resources. So you can send that, like give it to your kids, tell me what you want, collect the money. You do one order for your school, okay? Or two if you have a color guard. Pins. So there's a picture on the website with this, but I'll pass it around. These commemorative pins, Mom started eons ago. They're really fun to have as just like a memento for your whole team if you want. Some coaches do that. They're $5. They're cute. It's like the competition colors for the year. All your merchandise, all your registrations due October 1st. Then things start humming October 2nd. Yeah. Woo! Then college dance combine. There's tons of flyers here if you want to take them for your kids. Please use those. The last section I want to talk about, and then I'll pass it on to Colleen to talk about rules, is our coaches trip to Minnesota in February. So this is new-ish for us. Years ago, there used to be trips all the time. I went as a young one once, and I still remember it. It was really cool. So going to Minnesota, they are fabulous at jazz and kick. In fact, that's all they do at their competition. It's an all-day. On Friday, they do all-day jazz competition, and then all-day kick on Saturday. Oh, how glorious. How fun. And it's an amazing time as an organization for us to not be in a competition setting or whatnot and just get to know each other, network. So this is in lieu of our normal spring conferences we've had year over year. That does not mean we're not focused on professional development. We are going to have something fun next year, but I'm going to leave you hanging. Okay? So there's something super exciting that I have lined up for all of you to take advantage of, and I can't wait to share with you in January. In fact, the board doesn't even know. So it's going to be fun. But let's see. So the coaches trip, I hope you can take advantage of it. I know that timing in terms of the days of week is really hard, because we would leave on a Thursday night, travel up, and then it's all day Friday, Saturday, travel home Sunday. And let's see, what else was it? Oh, registration is due September 15th. We'll push that registration link up again. It's out there on the coaches page, but there's been a lot of posts since July 1st. So any questions for me before I go teach Pomp? I don't think so. Okay. If you have any questions about rules, now is a fabulous time to ask them to Colleen.
I'm gonna hand out, if you haven't looked up our rules.
Okay. Hang on. What is it? You want to tell me something?
No. Talk about some of the changes,
Who's getting some food?
Oh.
I'm gonna get her grandma out.
Let me know yesterday. Can I get everybody? Yes? Okay, great. So first we're gonna do the rules. Most of you guys probably have read through this because I know a lot of times choreography is done by now. But the board has added a few revised rules. So we're just gonna read through it, and if there's any questions, you can go ahead and ask me, or we can wait till the end, doesn't matter either way. Head springs with two-handed support are allowed. Hands must be free of objects. Now, head springs are new this year, just like aerials were new last year. Just make sure that you're educated in them and that you practice with your girls and they know how to do them so they're safe. Is there any questions about that? Okay, let's go on. Hands must be free of objects when executing aerials and head springs. In palm, one must use hand-free grips or remove palms from hands completely to execute the side aerial or head springs. That's a 15-point penalty per infraction. So the hands-free palms are really cool. You can get them for about $5 a piece from NDA. They can hook onto your palms that you have right now. There's like a little wooden dowel, and if you're gonna get them, I'd order them now. But they're really easy. You just have to play with them a little bit, and it's that palms actually sit on top of your hands, and there's a dowel underneath, and then you flip the dowel up, and then everything sits on top, and then you can flip the dowel back. We had them at the spring conference. If some of you guys came to the spring conference, and the more you play with them, the easier they get. You just have to be a little creative with your choreography. Add a couple counts before and a couple counts after to flip them around. But it's not as hard as it seems. It's pretty easy. Or you can just place it down. We saw, I'm a rules judge, and Charisse and I usually kind of hooked up together, and we've seen a lot of really close calls. And when they have the palms in their hands, that is so slippery if they were to fall. And there were some aerials that were very, very close to the ground. So just make sure that if your team is doing that there is some height, because when the kids get nervous, things can happen. And just make sure they're doing the skill correctly. Is there any question on those? You can also buy hands-free palms, but you can buy this little device and add it to your palms too. They're pretty easy. I wish I had some here for you. They're very expensive. But the faster you get them, the faster your kids will get used to them. Like if I was coaching right now, I'd get them and I have the kids wear them all day in school. Just flip their hands up, flip their hands back, so they get just used to that feeling, because you don't want them fumbling. Okay? Practicing aerial are only permitted in the ISDTA provided mat in each warm-up area. So this is going to be for solos and for teams. So last year, again, there were a lot of kids trying aerials that, we didn't have any accidents, but there were some close calls. So we're going to have mats, which actually were donated to us, which we're so grateful. And they're going to be in each, at Solars, they're going to be right by the performance area at each place. And at State, they're going to be at each place. Now, they're not going to be monitored, so you're still going to have to monitor your dancer doing it. And there's not going to be any time on it. And there's no penalty we're not going to be handing out penalties if the dancers are practicing on the cement. We just don't want them to. So you as a coach, just try not to have them do that, just for safety reasons. Have them practice on the mat if they need to practice beforehand. Okay, and just for the safety of it. We didn't want them on the cement. So we got those mats given to us, and just be mindful. Our coaching staff here at ISDTA is so friendly. More so than a lot of other states. I've been to a lot of competitions and cheerleading competitions, and I think our coaches are so responsible and kind, and it's always for the kids. It seems like that to me. You guys talk to each other really well. You cheer on one another, even if you're competing against each other. I think, the same thing goes for this. So there's not going to be any timing or monitoring. So if there's somebody on the mat practicing and you need to practice, just go on up and,
say, hey, can we take a turn? Or if you see somebody doing aerials on the cement, just let them, in a kind way, just let them know that, you can do it on the mat instead. It's safer on the mat. But there's not going to be any penalties. We're not doing it for that reason at all. We don't want to shake anybody up before they go out on the floor. We just want to keep people safe. Okay? The length of the routine. This is fabulous. The length of the routine will be the same for solos and for team. The minimum is 1:30 and the maximum is 2:15. We'd love you all to keep it around 2 minutes, if possible. I mean, you can still do the minimum, but it just, how that sometimes after a long day of competition, especially a team, when it's so late and they're, people, even at 15 minutes after a while, we've had awards really, really late at night. This will make things go so much better and keep everybody on time. So and I think it'll be easier across the board. So also another reminder, if your girls are soloists, a lot of times if they are in a studio, their music is a lot longer than our music is. So make sure that you check their music, because it's happened before where they, sometimes the coaches let their moms bring them to state solos and they don't really check the music, the timing of the music. A lot of times studio music is a lot longer, studio routines. So make sure they know those 1:30 to 2:15. The next one, tights. Okay, so we just want to keep it a family-friendly event. So tights are required for all female dancers. I don't know if any of you saw anything that we saw last year, but there were a lot of questionable things and not on purpose. And I'm not just talking about the buttocks area, how sometimes they ride up, because they're certainly going to ride up again with a tight underneath. It's going to be slippery, but there's body tape. You can use body tape. We're just going to require the tights for all areas, because sometimes they would do choreography and they wouldn't even realize it. They do a really high side kick, and we would see stuff that we did not want to see. And the dancers were embarrassed. We were embarrassed. Some of the judges in the back, we heard them gasp a couple times. So that's just, you need to wear tights. Not for men. That's up to the discrimination of the coaches. You guys will know. I mean, everybody knows what looks good and what doesn't look good. But if, I know a lot of people dance barefoot, so you can get those body tights that have the little holes on the bottom, and, they're transition tights, I believe. And, I don't mind that look of when you pull it up and you have that there's just a little bit around the ankle. I don't think the judges mind that either. So just make sure that there is tights this year, always. The co-ed category definition. So there's a minimum of 6 pairs. So that's 12 on the floor. And 80% of the pairs need to be male and female. And they also need to have partner work. A couple times this year it was co-ed, but there wasn't any partner work, and that's the whole purpose of co-ed. So those are a little different. So make sure you check your choreography. Pardon, can you hear me? Oh, I'm sorry, you can't hear anything I'm saying. Can you hear anything? I'm supposed to stand there through the webinar. But so co-ed, there's a minimum of 6 pairs. There's 12 on the floor, and 8% of them have to be male. And you have to make sure that the choreography is perfect. Last year we had some co-ed, like 3 of them, that didn't really have to partner. So there's an emphasis on that. And I'll go into that a little bit more with the description of categories next. But if you did stuff with all that with the tights, I'll talk to you about very quick. Sorry. Usually everything out. Okay, the next thing is engage spotters. So now that we have all these things like aerials and handsprings and little stunts you do, we're going to have engaged spotters. So the rules judges will watch that. They'll be the ones to deduct if you don't have an engaged spotter, which means your eyes are on the person doing the skill and you're at arm's reach. It doesn't mean you have to be touching their arm or touching their body, but you have to be there in case something happens, which is kind of a gray area, but just make sure that it doesn't need to be like the cheerleading. Pardon? Oh, it doesn't mean that you have to be like when cheerleaders have spotters, they stand and it doesn't mean that has to be the choreography. You can still create something and have them moving, just make sure that they can see the person and reach for them if needed, okay? If you have any questions about that, you can send a video to Lois or Andrea or myself, or yeah. And there's actual links also, I believe. Is there links for videos on the website to send? There's links on the website to send a video if you have a question. So that would be the best bet, because you don't want to get down there and think you got, all your ducks counted and then have that happen. So if you have a question, ask one of us or send it on in.
And that's only for acrobatic skills that are not head springs or aerials, right? They don't need an engaged spotter for head springs.
Right.
But you need just one spotter per.
Yes, one spotter. That's what we've decided so far. Yes?
I'm sorry, what did you say there?
So the spotter, so like, you know how the aerials, they're moving. So you don't have to have a spotter like sit there and follow them. So that's just for like stunts.
Right, so if you have 6 people in front of you in a head start, you don't have to have 12 spotters.
No, that's just for stunts.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Stunts, yes.
And like back shots and stuff.
Backlinks. Yeah,
Boys do those. a lot.
yes, a lot.
But you could do like team aerials and it would be fine.
Right,
Thank you.
right.
What about like back handsprings and moves? Do you need to have someone do that?
It's not really written that way. We better ask. Because we sit down as a rule, we didn't cover that. We sit down as a rule team, but there's about 5 of us. And we try to think of every single question. And that one, I just want to make,
I have a state routine that has that in it this year. So
I would say not. If you're moving, that's the whole point. But I will make sure to get back to you. Okay? I will do that right after. A team that performs more than registered will result in disqualification. So last year we had a team that registered 14 and they had 16 on the floor, which is not, we've never really had that problem before. So yeah, so I was like, I was counting again, and I'm like, wait a second. So that is just disqualification. So always register the maximum, and then you have the 70% rule. And that's all computerized for you now. It's much easier than it used to be. We used to have a million questions on that kind of stuff. But register your maximum, okay? And I'm sure it was an overload. Okay, this is another one. This is kind of confusing a little bit. So in the event of a musical malfunction, after performance has started, the backup music must be presented or produced within 3 minutes. And then once the performance continues, the judge will judge from the point the music malfunctioned. If the backup music malfunctions, the judge will judge what is performed. So this has happened. I'll kind of break it down for you. You go out and you dance 35 seconds. Your music turns off. Somebody comes and has their backup music. They turn the music on. They did a fabulous job those first 35 seconds before the music turned on. And then they were a little shook up. So then when they start the music again, those first 35 seconds, a couple of the newbies get nervous and they mess up. That's not judged again. That was just judged the one time, that first time, okay? So the judges will know, start judging at 37 seconds. And I'm sure they'll make a mental note, start judging after the fouettes or start judging after the toe toucher. And then it will be judged from the rest on, okay? Also, if the backup music doesn't work, which this happened as well, you got your 2 minutes routine, and the music works 35 minutes or 35 seconds, and it turns off. You bring the music to the backup music. That doesn't work. Your routine is judged for the 35 seconds. We used to let you guys go like behind, or like we'd say, oh, you guys can go at the end of your group for solos. We're not doing that anymore. So that's your one chance. Is there any questions on that? Because it's kind of hard to explain. Did you hear me in the back? Do you understand what I'm saying in the back? Yeah?
You're saying the backup music malfunctions at 35 seconds, they can't continue dancing, or they can continue dancing and it's just not there.
They could continue dancing without music until 2:15. I suppose they could. I mean, that would be in the rules. that would be fabulous coaching.
I saw the music and I was like, oh, you know,
Yeah, that happened to us once with our Christmas routine, and it went off, and they finished. It was like the proudest moment of my entire life. I was like, oh, it was fabulous. Yeah. So that's a great question, though. Yeah, they can if they finish to that 2 minutes 15 seconds. Yes. Yes. 100% bring it back. Always have a backup. And another thing with solos, for you newbies, if you don't go to solos, or if you send a mom, or if you send, I don't know, for you newbies, make sure your soloists dance in front of you with their costumes on, and you time everything. Also, make sure that you are you're sitting at the music table 2 or 3 beforehand. We did give out some penalties last year. I hate doing that because it's not fair to the soloist. So you have to be at the music table. I think it's 2 before. Is it 2 before your 2 or 3 before your soloist? Yeah. So make sure you're at the music table with your music, or if a mom is bringing them, or the studio teacher, just make sure that they're there. Okay.
So if a coach cannot be at solos, I'm a teacher, I don't know if I can get it off.
Yep.
If I can't be in, I send a mom
Yep.
to be my chaperone.
Yes.
She just has to be at that spot with the backup.
With the backup music. Yes.
Okay.
100%. It's happened so many times, and it's so sad because I've seen some fabulous solos, and their mom brings them because the coach can't, and then they get docked.
And
I believe
that's
it's
the
5
flash
points.
drive too.
It takes them out.
Yeah.
Pardon?
Solos are flash drives too.
So a backup.
The backup.
They can be solos. I mean, you're downloading them this year, but yeah,
Okay.
they can be on. They can be on your phone. There's all different kinds for backup. Yeah. Last but not least, midriff definition is the area from the armpits down to the waist. A secure fabric insert or body type is required if any area of the midriff is exposed. The example below requires fabric insert or body type. So this is what I was talking about, the same problem as before. We had some girls, you know how like some of the dresses at prom kind of pop in and pop out, and they think that's your midriff is closed, and this is all open. Well, same thing has gone where they've done certain moves, and you get a full shot. Some girls are more blessed than others, and some people don't realize body tape is important. So now we are wearing tights. So really the only tight I know about that you can have here, unless you sew it in, is a full body tight. I mean, you could have I guess that's not true. You could have just a unitard tight. I guess you could. Sometimes those right up though, a little too high, and then you'll see. It's just make sure that's all covered. So open back is fine. Yep. It's just the midriff. Are there any questions about that midriff? If you have questions, I mean, you can take pictures and send it to us, but I think that's pretty self. Okay, so let's turn it over real quick. And I'm not going to go. Let's turn it over to this first. Oh, wait, I don't think you guys have it. So go on the website and look up, each category has been rewritten with a description of what the judges are looking for emphasis, for execution, for a description of the category. So some of you guys might have noticed last year when you watch a jazz category, there'd be contemporary in there, or when you watch a contemporary, it'd be jazz, and you'd be like, wait a second, I thought that was jazz. Or I've had people, I've seen teams do, they thought it was a prop and it ended up being in military or vice versa. So this, we had the board break up in groups and rewrite the descriptions. So on the website, you'll see a description for each category that you sign up for, that you enter, and just really read through this. If you haven't read through the rules book, I mean, you really should, even if you've been coaching a million years, because things are changing. And if you just started, you want to do that. You'd hate to have something be your fault that your team would get docked. So this explains the description and then explains what they're looking for execution. Okay. That being said, let's talk about this for a little bit. So I'm just going to brush over this, and then Liz Lefevre from Clear Lake is gonna do a webinar on this alone, just the master score sheet, and explain some stuff to this. So we changed our score sheet to a 100-point score sheet, which is happening all over. It's to the benefit of you guys and the judges. And it's actually gonna be easier right now, unless things change. It's gonna be easier to get a Division I. But you're going to be able to see the difference between a first place and a third place, or a first place and a fifth place. I don't know if you guys have noticed on the score sheet, like if, there wasn't very much room to move there. And so and there was a clear difference on the floor when you'd see a team. So sometimes there would be an enormous amount of, precision or skill or just the whole showcase of the routine, and there'd be 2 points to mess with. Do you know what I mean? There'd be like a 2-point difference. This way, you're going to be able to, as a coach, actually know what do we need to work on. And it was a little hard with the old score sheet. There's a huge emphasis on execution. So for you small schools that are worried, like, oh no, now if we don't have our fortes and we're in a Palmer team and the whole team doesn't have their fortes, there's no way we're going to do. Not true. Because if you look in the description of POM and then you look at the execution, that's what the judges are going to be judging. So if you put skills in there, you have to know how to do the skills right and sharp. But in a POM category, they're not going to be looking for, they're not going to be looking for fortes. They're going to be looking on the execution of a POM routine. So that's 40 points. So it's all going to equal out, if you understand what I mean. Is there any questions about this? I just don't want anybody getting scared with it or thinking, oh my gosh, we're not going to have, it's going to be, first off, it's going to be easier to get a Division I. Second off, you're going to know as a coach things that you're really going to have to work on. I think this is fabulous area. Other than that, there's a lot of little changes. We're open up to any questions that you have. Let's see. Oh, this conference thing. Don't forget to come up and get these things. These things are fabulous. I think that, did you say the sophomore and juniors are almost full?
So there's like 50 senior spots open, but maybe 30 sophomore and junior.
Right. And this is a great thing. I think, especially for your seniors, if they haven't figured out where they want to go. There's representatives from all the dance teams, and they learn a little routine, and they get educated. They learn leadership skills. It's a fabulous thing. Plus, you don't have to bring them. Your parents can bring them, and they do everything themselves. But it'll just make your team stronger. So this is a fabulous idea as well.
And if your dancers aren't interested in dancing in college, Jackie LaWarren is teaching the choreography from So You Think You Could Dance. And she is fabulous. The choreography is super fun and super cute. They do a technique routine, so they learn some really cute technique combos. It's a good idea, even if they're not sure if they want to dance in college or not.
Yeah, it is. It's a great experience. One thing, I'm not sure, did Andrea talk about senior scholarships?
I will talk about it.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Okay, I will pass it on to her. If there's any questions afterwards, you can come up and ask.
Okay, so I'm going to try to do this with the baby who only wants me today. I mean, you can try.
Oh, sure. I'll turn her around so she won't know.
There you go. She won't even know.
She's not even gonna know.
Okay. Awesome. So as Andrea mentioned earlier, we are going digital with all of our forms and paperwork. If you've coached before, you know that you show up to registration with a stack of papers. And I don't know about you guys, but that was always anxiety inducing for me. Oh my God, what if I leave something at home that I'm supposed to have? So Andrea and I have been working really hard on taking all of these forms totally online. So now when you show up to state solos, your only thing that you will have is your dancers. So you won't have any paperwork and you won't have any music to bring with you. All of that's going to be uploaded digitally through a site that Andrea and I have been working on. It's linked on ISDTA.net. You can get to it, or if you register for any of our webinars, it's there as well. Every single thing is on there. So there's a couple different things you need to know about. There's a coaches section. There's a required column for all the forms you have to have in order to compete. And there's an optional column for the things that you don't have to have, but you should do. So things that would be under the required column would be like your music verification, which you will need to fill out for solos and for team online. And what else? Your permission and liability forms. This form has to be completed by every single dancer who competes at either competition. So we're expecting, roughly 5,000 submissions. What you need to do is go to the website, follow the instructions. There's a link you send out to your parents. They fill it out on their own. You get a notification when that dancer has completed her permission and liability form. So you just keep track of who's completed. We have a running list of how many you're supposed to have versus how many you actually have. And the last thing we want is for you to get up to the registration table on the day of team or the day of solos and then be like, hey, you're missing 4 registration forms. Then you have to go figure out who those 4 are, and that's not going to be fun for anyone. That is open right now, so go ahead and start sending that out to people and ask them to get that completed. What I did is I had a parent meeting, and I said, everyone get your phones out, go to this web address right here, complete this form right now. And then I got like 16 notifications that my forms have been completed. So just make sure that you're getting those done ahead of time so you don't have to scramble to get them later. Once they're submitted, they're good for the whole calendar year. So if you have a soloist, she submits it for solos, it's done for team, you don't have to do it twice. Does anyone have questions about the permission and liability one?
Oh, so do you want, like, my JV team comes and just watches?
It's only for performers. So if they are not performing on the floor, you do not need to complete one. Coaches need to complete one too, though. So make sure you also are completing them for yourselves. Any participant in the competition. Let's see. Music verification forms, those are all online as well. Make sure you get those filled out. If you have a prop, backdrop, clothing removal, tattoo approval, whatever, make sure you complete it by the deadline. That is also available on the website. So it used to be, I'll take you back. It's fine. This is Charlotte. She's 4 months old today. Having a day with mom. So anyway, make sure that you fill out the form for that. It used to be you would just email someone. Now, in order to make sure that we don't miss anything, it's going to have an electronic log of everyone who's requested. So if you have a solo request, for example, you'll go in and you'll fill it out and it will automatically send the form off to Lois. She will reply with your approval. If you have a team request, you'll go fill it out. It'll automatically send it off to Andrea. She will reply with her approval. The question will also ask you a couple questions about your solo, your prop, whatever you're requesting approval for. Those align with the rule book. So like if you answer no to any of them, then your request is going to get declined. So make sure that you're paying attention to the rule book and not having that auto declined for you. We want to make sure everyone's approvals get done correctly. And then that will give us a log for the rules judges. They will know exactly what has and hasn't been approved. Let's see. On the optional side of forms, there's 2 key differences. If you've ever applied for senior scholarship, or if you've ever applied for academic excellence, I'm going to start with academic. With academic, what you're going to do is you're going to go fill out the form, and you're going to tell the system who needs to complete that process for you. So whether it's a principal, vice principal, counselor, for me, it's an athletic secretary. You go in, you put in their name, you put in their email, and then you enter the names and grades of your dancers who are 10th through 12th. Freshmen are not included in the academic calculation, so you don't have to include them in that. Then that system automatically sends an email to whoever you specify. So like mine went to my athletic secretary, Jane. She got an email with the instructions of how to complete this for me, the people who needed to be included, and another link that they can fill out in order to tell us what your academic GPAs were for the first and second semester and your cumulative year average. And that all goes into a system for us. It is your responsibility to chase down that person and make sure they complete it by October 1st. So make sure you give them plenty of time. They have to complete it by October 1st because the form shuts down October 2nd at 12:01 a.m. There is no more completing it after that. So make sure you do it. It's automatic. It's not something that we are able to open and reclose constantly. So make sure that you are getting that submitted correctly. For senior scholarship, this is also kind of new this year. What you're going to do is you are going to go onto the website under the coaches section, optional forms. you'll fill out the contact information for your seniors. So it'll ask you your name, your school, your email. Then it'll say senior number 1, senior number 1's email, senior number 2, senior number 2's email. Once you submit that, it automatically sends invitations to your seniors, inviting them to complete the scholarship application. Then they have everything they need in order to get that done, and it's all submitted online. So you are not mailing anything for them. They are not mailing portfolios. Any portfolios they want to include are digital in PowerPoint, PDF, YouTube video, whatever they want to do. We're looking for kind of connecting with that digital generation, and we're excited to see the really cool things they're going to put together on their computers for us instead of scrapbooks or stuff like that. If you really feel strongly that they want to submit an actual physical scrapbook, then you can connect with Andrea and have your senior mail something in. Does anyone have questions about those forms? Okay, all the due dates are on the website. As I mentioned, the forms do close down on whatever the due date is, so there's no late submissions there. So make sure you get ahead of it and don't delay. Don't make changes at the end, please. Because I will feel terrible if you made a change and I forgot to add it to the list, and then you get in trouble and you get a deduction, and then it's definitely my fault and I'll feel like a horrible human. So please, please, please get your stuff right the first time so I don't have to go in and change it. As you can see, I have my hands full with a little one, so I don't want to forget and ruin your state experience. There's 2 other things on there. We have a new PR initiative that we are working on as a board, and we want to really continue to promote dance and drill across the state. So we've created a couple different PR tools. First, we have a local media invitation process. So if you would like us to connect with your local media and ask them to cover our state event on your behalf, please go fill that out so we know who to call. I'm working with Meredith Dennis on a media plan and how we can try to get your local news stations to cover your state experience so that people back home can see exactly what you're doing and what you're working on. So please help us by creating a list of media contacts that we can go contact on your behalf and invite them to cover this event. We would love to see lots of local news coverage and people seeing all the cool things that we're doing as an association. We also have an outstanding alumni section. So Jory Wade Booth with Waverly and I are already working on a really exciting feature that I can't tell you about today, but it's coming soon. We want to feature outstanding alumni who've gone through a dance program with the ISDTA. We know that they're out there. It doesn't even have to be like someone who's dancing professionally. We're looking for people who were former dancers who are now CEOs of their own companies or doing amazing nonprofit work or something like that. So if you know of someone who's gone through your program or has gone through the ISDTA in some way, let us know. We'd love to reach out to them and feature them to continue to show how dance team is more than just something you do in high school, how it can shape your future and give you something really exciting and help you grow as a human. So that by the time that you're, a full-fledged adult, you've had really cool experiences that have helped shape you. The last thing on the PR side of things, we want to talk to and feature current students. So if you have a current student who is interested in writing in particular, we'd love to get editorial submissions from your students about, what dance team means to them or what they've learned through their dance program or what it's like to be a high schooler in 2019 or 2020. We'd love to feature your students. We'd love to hear from them. There's nothing we love more than making sure that the kids have exactly what they need to excel in the future. And we want to hear how dance team is shaping their lives. And then if you want us to feature your team for any reason, like you're raising money for a local charity or you are doing some really cool community service or you received a special award, you can also submit a feature request there and we'll feature you on our website and social media pages so that we can celebrate all the cool things all of our dance teams are doing. I have 2 more things that I'm done, I promise. Okay, social media ambassadors. If you have any alumni who would be interested in being an ambassador for the ISDTA during our state events, they can go to our Facebook page. That's where the application is. It's due September 15. And what we're looking for are people who can help us show behind the scenes all the hard work, dedication it takes to be on a dance team or a drill team. They'll be showing behind the scenes at state and at state solos. They'll be highlighting different routines. They'll be interviewing different teams. We just need some help doing that because everyone on our board is volunteer and most of us are coaches too. So if you have alumni who are interested in being an ambassador, please have them apply. And then the last thing is we have a webinar coming up with Liz Lefebvre, and this was kind of mentioned. She is going to break down the score sheet and break down the category descriptions and answer all of your questions about categories and score sheets. That's coming up in a couple weeks. If you're not a part of the coaches group on Facebook, that's usually where things get posted. Otherwise, Andrea does send an email as well. Please join us for that webinar, and you can ask all your questions about what different things on the category score sheet mean to make sure that you enter yourself in the right category and you leverage the score sheet in the best way for your team. All of our webinars that we've ever had, including our upcoming ones, will be posted on one location. We've created a YouTube channel. So you'll be able to access everything we've ever recorded for education and webinars, just to make sure that you have all of that information, because there's a lot of really good stuff in there. So we're going to get that channel sent out to you. Andrea will email it out, and you'll also be able to subscribe. So every time we go live for any reason, or if we post a new video, you'll be able to get a notification so you can be up to date on what's going on. That was a lot of information, like a lot. If anyone has questions. Okay, I think the forms are super easy online, but I built them, so naturally I think they're super easy. If you are nervous about that, you can sign up for like a one-on-one web meeting with me, and I will walk you through and literally fill them out with you on your computer. Whatever you need to do, I just want to make sure everyone has exactly what they need to make it as easy as possible and as low stress as possible. Yeah.
So you said coaches have to fill out for the one that we send to all of our students, right?
You get a link. You just have a link that you have.
Oh, so, but we fill out that same form?
Yeah, we have to have
So
one.
we have to have assistant coaches, helpers, all that.
Anyone who is an official participant in the competition. So it's supposed to be like coaches, assistant coaches. If you're giving them a campus band and a coach badge, they're going to need one.
So it says parent already information, you really want that from us.
For you, yeah, just put your names again. Yep. It's built for students, but we want a copy for you guys as well.
Does that include bus drivers?
Not in that copy, okay. It's the photo release, the main thing, so like, you gotta make sure we have your permission to take your picture if you end up in the bathroom or something shot.
So like, how we set up our show production, we have to.
I would have them do it too, just to cover us if they like trip or something like that. Yep. I mean, when in doubt, have more people fill it out, right? The worst thing that happens is we delete our record of it. Any other questions? Yes.
Just any way that we can add chemistry and myself, like the spreadsheets on the ISDTA website, for all of our information. The spreadsheet for contact information. Like email address, all of their name, or something like we were doing some sort of FRP, or show it like this team.
So you can email Andrea.
All of the email address.
So you email Andrea, she'll do a spreadsheet with that information. You're supposed to follow this, you don't want like solicitors, you'll turn yourself in.
Okay, I guess I just not. But I guess you're right, I was thinking, like, so we.
I mean, I received it kind of like on my fundraiser emails.
Right.
So yes, I will pick up the Andrea. I would warn you about special list. Give you new approaches this year.
Great.
So it's always. Yep, that's a good question. If you have a soloist, she only needs to fill out the form one time. She doesn't need to fill it out again for the team competition. You can have all your guys fill it out right this minute. So like my team already has all of their forms in. Even though I only have 6 soloists, I have the other 10 girls who aren't doing solos fill out the form now, so I don't have to worry about it. It's good from August 1 to August 1. So you're good.
Would that include Nails or do it?
Yeah.
Just two.
Anyone who's going to touch the floor,
In case you're
you
ready.
can go and those. Yep, I have an all-male team, we've got 30 of them, so I'm gonna like have them chase down their parents. I'm not looking forward to that. So, any other questions? Yes.
Real quick question.
Yes.
Did you say that the kids have to fill it out or there's a spot for their parents?
Their parents have to fill it out because they have to sign off as the legal guardians.
Okay.
If you coach a college team, your college dancers can fill it out if they're 18 or older. We prefer that anyone in high school, even if they're 18, have their parents fill it out just because they're still living under their parents' roof and under their parents' liability. Any other questions? Okay, if you have questions or you're nervous about those forms, come talk to me. I'd love to help you out with it. Otherwise, I'll be doing walkthrough videos for all of the forms to show you exactly how to fill them out, and those will be available on our channel. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
All right, you guys are done. Thank you. Yeah.
Everything's going good. Do you feel lost from last year? I do. So far, I'm sure I'll get lost again.
Okay.
Just like, sorry. No, I was like, can I help you?
There is. You'll have to ask Sarah for it. She's the one who has it. Let me end the stream. Sarah is the Ames coach. Yes. So she would be just down the hall.
All right. Are you here all day?
No,